I was so excited for a branding photo shoot. To be honest, I was a little bit nervous, but I knew it was going to be a really good opportunity. And it's necessary when you have an art business to be able to photograph not only your work, but your process and your brand. Working with Jocelyn was so awesome. Her work speaks for itself. In our communications before the photo shoot, we were talking about what she kind of had envisioned for this shoot and what we had to work with. She suggested that we shoot in my studio and get some process photos, art photos, and headshots. The tricky part about that was that I don't have a great studio for photography. Unfortunately, it's probably the Achilles heel in my business right now. I'm hoping it isn't actually that big of a deal, and I work around it. But in terms of trying to get great shots in my workspace, it just wasn't really going to work. Thankfully, Utah has some awesome natural light photography studios. And so we settled on one in Salt Lake Valley, and it turned out so great. The big windows were gorgeous. It had a lot of bright walls, and it was the perfect blank canvas for us to work with. We set up a little mock painting station, and I set out my supplies. I put paints on the palette, and then I mixed up paints so that we could get process photos mixing the paints. If you haven't mixed paints before and you are into art, I suggest doing it. Mix some paints, have some fun, because it's extremely therapeutic. It's so fun to create new colors, and especially with oil paints. I love oil paints so much because it's so creamy and smooth, and mixing oils before a paint session is one of my favorite parts of the process. The person behind the camera is my talented and handsome husband, who is also a videographer. And so he came along on this photo shoot to capture the behind the scenes and to get footage of the whole process. We were getting super hot in there. Even though it said 69 degrees, I don't think the thermostat was accurate. And so it was hot until my husband finally was able to open one of those really old industrial windows, and it let in the cool spring air. This was my first time working with a professional photographer, and it made a big difference because I felt like she was able to coach me on how to stand and what to do. A little bit later, her boyfriend showed up, and he was also filming some behind the scenes footage. And so that was just a lot of fun because it was like we had this whole little production going on. She was taking photos of me. My husband was filming the process, and then her boyfriend was filming her and capturing her process. Trying to be an artist while being a stay-at-home mom is kind of a wild ride. It's hard, but it's also amazing and extremely fulfilling. It can feel chaotic because I feel like I'm always juggling when I'm going to have time to create art, when the housework needs to be done, getting kids to their extracurricular activities. It's not always easy, and it's definitely not always clear what I need to be doing. But one thing that I've learned in the past 2 years that I've been taking my art seriously is that I just have to stay consistent. And as the seasons change with family and as our kids get a little older, it gets a little easier to kind of go with the flow and be okay with the chaos, as long as we're always striving to maintain the balance of keeping the most important priorities at the top. Jocelyn totally had my back, and I loved that she was fixing my hair and making me look awesome for the pictures, because she just had that eye and was able to make sure she was capturing the best side of me and, maybe avoiding the unflattering positions or images. We finished most of the process photos, and now she has me set up for headshots. They had this amazing mustard yellow chair, and paired with that kind of slanted background that took away any lines from the floor to the ceiling, it was a really cool effect in that space. Light is so important for artists. I've learned this more in the last 2 years than I have in all the years before, but it makes all the difference when painting the art, but also when taking good photos. We spent a lot of years living in basement apartments, and I think because of that, it's made me extremely sensitive to whether or not there is natural light in the rooms that I'm in. Daylight just feeds my soul, and opening the curtains and the blinds every morning is one of the very first things I do. Having a space like this natural light photography studio is one of my absolute dreams. Someday, I'm going to have an art studio filled with natural light, bright big windows, and then I may never leave. My husband told me I needed to make a big entrance out of the dressing room, so I had to humor him. Our kids were all at home. Our oldest was babysitting, and between a 2-hour photo shoot and 2 hours of drive time, there's always going to be phone calls back and forth. My biggest driving force behind why I create art, besides the fact that I find so much enjoyment in creating the art, is that I love creating beautiful surroundings. I love adding beauty to this world, either in small ways or in big. But art is such an impactful way that we can beautify our homes. Our homes are sacred. They're the places where we raise our babies and where we teach our children, and we spend time with the people that we love the very most. And we want them to be a place of refuge, a place that we can enjoy being together and feel safe and to feel happy. And making our homes feel beautiful has such an impact on that. Some of my favorite ways to beautify our own home is through cozy blankets, comfy, pretty furniture, houseplants. I love houseplants. Warm lighting is huge. Having soft, warm light, whether that's through lamps or cafe lights. Also, of course, this is the number one for me, is beautiful art. A home without art is like a home without a soul. And not everyone's going to have the same taste in art, just like how homes themselves vary so much from one family to another. The type of art that you bring into your home is going to be so different from your neighbors. But you're going to know what art resonates with you, and you're going to pick the art that's going to bring the feeling into your home that you are looking for your family. And as the artist, it's my hope to create art that you will love. Maybe not you specifically, because maybe my art is not the art that you're looking for, but maybe it is. I just know I have to make art. Just like I knew I wanted to be a wife, and I knew I wanted to be a mom. Painting is like air to me. I'm so grateful for paint. Creating beauty is so much fun, and now I get to make a business out of it. Just like with the lighting, another thing that I've discovered is absolutely critical for artists is good photography. If you don't have good photos of your art and your process, you're not really going to go anywhere. Thankfully, I do have a nice camera of my own and a little bit of basic photography skills, so I'm able to capture a lot of good photos and videos on my own. But this photo shoot was something else entirely. It was such a pleasure to do this photo shoot with Jocelyn. She is so professional, incredibly intuitive, and just super fun to work with. I just knew the photos she was capturing were going to be incredible. If you happen to be a Utah artist and you need a branding photo shoot, I'm just going to leave her information down below because you will not regret booking an appointment with Jocelyn. Now let's look at the photos.